Hi everybody. I think if I'm uploading to the if I'm uploading today, then that means there's a triple upload today. Just wanted to point that out. But also, since the last tier list video seemed to be doing okay, but I decided to make another tier list video. This time about the fan game that I've played literally 70 times. Like, I can't stop playing it. It's too fun. I just love the game. Maybe because I can Nuzlocke it really nicely. Like, this is where I got all my Nuzlocke practice. So now I'm gonna be ranking pretty much the main reason why people would be playing Pokemon Insurgents. The Delta Pokemon. The cool Delta Pokemon that... Wait, what the heck? Hold on. I've played so many times. I've never seen a Delta Mew. You guys probably can't see it right now, but I'm looking up Delta Mew. Oh, it's a piece of fan art. Okay. I thought that was real. I really thought that was real. Well, I guess we're gonna be ranking these guys now. And hang on. Okay, let's just do it. So, starting with Delta Mew. It doesn't exist, so I hate it. Okay. I mean, there's probably gonna be very few Deltas that end up in E or F, just because it's hard for me to dislike a Delta. They're so iconic to me. They're pretty much... I love them. I also love how they use some of the older sprites. I think the Chandelure sprite back in the day was a lot better than the current one. Although I definitely think the current Gardevoir is better than the older one. Alright, Bulbasaur. Doesn't really stand out to me. It's fine. Hang on, let me rename all of these. S should be changed to... Best of the best. That's supposed to be an O. A is supposed to be very cool slash good. B will be quite solid. C will be decent enough. D will be meh. E will be could be better, and F will be all right. This whole line is fine to me. The Venusaurs, I kind of don't like Venusaur's kind of like angry face. I think female Venusaur's happy face is better than the male Venusaur just being kind of angry. I don't really like it. I don't know. Don't really like it. The others are fine to me. Charmander is... It's quite... Is it quite solid? It's quite solid. I like it. I like it. Charmeleon is also quite solid. Definitely not bad. Charizard is fairly cool. Definitely not one of the best. I haven't used it that many times, but it's pretty cool. Like, look at that thing. It's cool. Squirtle is quite solid. Wartortle I think is actually pretty cool. If there was an in-between, I put it there, but I'll put it quite solid. Blastoise is also quite solid. Like, I think Blastoise is probably my favorite of this line. Probably. I just think it's... Like, I like how it looks. I like its ninja kind of thing. I want to say emo ninja, but that doesn't work. Like dark ninja, that's better. Pawniard is, I think, a little wonky. Doesn't look right to me. It's fine. It's fine, I guess. Like, I'm not gonna put it in could be better because it's not too bad. Bisharp is pretty cool. I do think that the Bisharp here looks really cool. Like, there's a few things that could be changed, I feel, but overall, I think it's pretty cool. I do kind of wish it was a grass type, just because every time I see people call this thing a grass type, I want to rage. It's a flying fighting type. I feel like you can swap that fighting type out for grass. Ralts is quite solid. I think it's pretty cute. Curlia, fine. This Gardevoir sprite is a piece of poop poop. Okay, fine. The actual Gardevoir I think is quite solid, but I'm gonna put this one here. Gallade, personally, Gallade is one of my favorite Deltas, personally. I remember seeing this for the first time and then using it on my main team, and it was amazing. I really loved it. It was so cool, and it was really good. It has so many moves. When a Pokemon starts reaching the point where I'm like, I can't decide what moveset I want just because it has so many options, that means it's got a pretty good move pool. And I think Gallade always happens when I use Gallade. Seriously, so many moves. Sunflora, it's an improvement over Sunflora. Sunkern could be better. Actually he's meh. Like, I don't hate Sunkern. I think the only reason I don't like it is because it's a Sunkern. So the whole premise of this is that we're ranking Delta, so I can't hate it because it's a Sunkern. Bergmite and Avalok don't really stand out to me. I've almost never used them. I've used them once, but it wasn't great. They weren't really that good. So they're fine. Scyther, honestly, I don't really like how Scyther looks. If I was ranking it based on, like, overall, then I would put it in meh, because I like Scyther. But we're ranking this based on the fact that it's a Delta, and how the Delta looks compared to this regular one, and things like that. How much I like it, and I don't really like it. I don't think it's very good. Looks very good, I mean. Scizor is quite solid. It's regular Scizor. I like the icicles. Scyther doesn't really have any icicles. He just turns blue, basically. They just took his I think that's the platinum sprite, and then made him blue, and then made him smile. Changed a few things. Scizor, I like the icicles. And I think the blue also works. The darker blue also works a bit better. Maybe I just like darker blue better. These are fine. I think Scrafty's little tree things are actually a little bit weird. Scraggy's fine, but Scrafty, I don't really like the whole things on its arm. They don't look right to me. And also its hair. I liked its hair mohawk previously, but now I don't really like it because it's all bushy. Combee, I don't like Combee. I don't like Combee because of its facial expressions. It just... No, I don't like it. Also, the bottom part isn't really a face anymore, which I don't really like. Vespiquen, though, very, very cool. I love this thing looking like a rocket ship. It looks cool. I think its head with the metal, and then I'm not sure what those yellow things on its head are, but they look really cool. I'm trying to get a better look at this thing. Oh yeah, I also like its posture. I thought the Hardgo and Soul Silver Vespiquen sprite was pretty cool, and I definitely like how they did that. But also kind of combined it with I like how they combined the two sprites. They have the pose of the platinum Hardgo Soul Silver sprite, but then they have the lower body still facing, not being pushed to the back. It's still at the front, like in the Diamond and Pearl sprite. I think that's pretty cool. Coughing, there's nothing too special about it. It's fine. I think wheezing is kind of cool. I do love using the wheezing, but I just don't like that the face on the head on the side isn't really a head anymore, and it looks more like a massive lump, like a pimple. It looks gross. Actually, it looks gross if I think about it that way. I don't like that. I need to stop saying that. Alright, Lightbird and Purloin, I don't like... They're fine. I think the red bloody scythes are pretty cool. But then, they don't really change. I mean, they change a lot. But overall, maybe I just don't get their inspiration enough, and that's what's happening here. I don't like Phantom. I don't really like Phantom. It doesn't look like alive, and I also don't. The face is the main problem, and I don't like it. Trevenant, I think Trevenant's pretty fun. Like it's like an angry fairy. I don't really fully understand why it's a fighting type. I feel like with the Delta, sometimes they just make. If they look like they can kill you, they will be a fighting type. With Trevenant here, that's kind of the case, but it looks like I seem to kind of like these fighting types. The Bisharp, Trevenant, Blastoise, Scizor. It's an angry fairy. I just think that's fun. Snorunt looks... Well, it kind of looks gross to me. It looks like a pile of poop that's smoking, and I don't like that. Glalie and Frostlass, though, they are very cool. I think I just generally like all the kind of fire things. Like, I love how Glalie, its face looks intimidating in this sprite. And it's oozing, and it looks pretty cool. The physics don't really work right, but then again, I haven't taken any physics class yet. Frostlass also looks pretty cool. I think the fire on its head and also the rocky parts of it look pretty cool. Definitely like it. I don't like Shinx. I think its facial expression. No, I really don't like Shinx. I don't like its facial expression. Also, it just doesn't look right. Luxio and Luxray, they're decent enough, I guess. I've used one myself. It really wasn't very good. So that kind of sucks. Noibat. I think Noibat is pretty decent. Nothing special about it. It's fine. It's cute. Noivern, though, I also think is very cool. Now, one thing about Noivern, I have a little story here. Now, my sister's birthday was coming up, and I really had no idea what to give her for her birthday. So instead, I spent 1 hour shiny hunting in Pokemon Insurgents on her save file, and I found a shiny Delta Noivern. It was randomized. Not a Nuzlocke, though. My sister doesn't do Nuzlocke. She got the Scizor. I meant Noivern. And I don't know. It also just looks pretty cool. I'll probably put it quite solid, but because of that shiny and that being so cool, yeah, that was nice. That was about last year. I got this game a bit over a year ago. That's pretty cool. Budew. Kind of cute. I think Roselia also looks decent. Roserade. I want to put it in around here or even here just because of my nostalgia. Because every time I get to use one of these things, they destroy everything. But I'm gonna do it based on design and just put it at, like, it's quite solid. I think its lower body is a little bit awkward. Nothing too special. But hey, it looks cool. Drifloon and Drifblim, they always throw me off with how they look. I also hate Drifblim's eyes. I do kind of think it's kind of cool how they still have the X mark that Drifloon and Drifblim had. But like, well, for one, I do not think they should have had mouths. I think the X should have stayed as their mouth. Not sure if this was a design choice or a logic thing that I don't get. But I just think they look kind of dumb. Grimer's fine. He's fine. He turned sandy, but I definitely think the sand looks pretty cool. Muck as well. Muck, if they used a sprite that had the regurgitating Muck, that would have been awful. But thank God they didn't, because that always grosses me out. Wooper, he's fine. Quagsire, I don't like the bottom of Quagsire. It looks kind of creepy to me, and that just makes me a bit uncomfortable. Also, I don't like how it has two bodies. Not sure about the exact lore on this. It looks just like a Halloween thing, kind of. But, yeah. Munchlax is fine. Snorlax, fine. It's pretty good. I do like the whole bushy Snorlax. I really think that's pretty cool. And also, I love its Gigantamax, how it kind of looks close to its Gigantamax form. Alright, Misdreavus. Misdreavus is cute. Misdreavus is pretty cute. Like, it's not real. Like, the regular Misdreavus look kind of devious. Like, kind of thing. Kind of like that. And this Sneasel, it just looks happy. It just looks happy. Mismagius, it doesn't change as much. I do have a little bit of nostalgia towards using it on my first team. And yes, I used the Mismagius instead of Gallade. And also my first playthrough, yes, I did all that stuff to get Misdreavus. I had to look it up. But hey, it was pretty cool. Definitely enjoyed it. Cyndaquil, you're fine. I think Quilava's also... the whole Typhlosion line is pretty fine to me. I've used it quite a few times, and also in my current Insurgent Nuzlocke Season 5 right now. You guys should totally go check that out. But yeah, Typhlosion here, pretty cool. Cyndaquil, pretty cute. Quilava, pretty cool. Nothing too special about them. I do think the electricity coming out of them looks pretty sweet. I'm also not... Do I want to do that thing that I did in the thing? The deep... No, there's so many more deltas. Oh wow, there's a lot of deltas. Yeah, this is gonna be kind of hard. I mean, not hard, just gonna time consuming. There's gonna be a lot of music in this. Also, the music is the Pokemon Insurgent Gym Team. Trico. Just wearing a headband. It's nothing special. Grovyle. Like, I just don't think they differ enough. They look kind of bland, that's the thing. Nothing too special. They're just wearing belts and their colors changed. Torchic, I just don't really like the way the whole Pharaoh thing looks. Like, I don't think they're bad. It's just my personal thing that I don't really like how a chicken Pharaoh looks. I do think Blaziken looks awesome though. I think Blaziken looks really awesome, and I know a lot of other people who played this game do. The Delta Blaziken is very, very cool. Look at it. He's so handsome. Turtwig is bald. Grotto's back is empty. Torterra is fine. Torterra is better. It got some stuff. Looks pretty cool. It's definitely pretty interesting. I also like how it's like more like a normal turtle, other than the fact that he has a beach on his back rather than an ecosystem. I don't like how Grottle and Turtwig are pretty bald though, pretty bland. Snivy, kind of cool. Servine's kind of cool. I think Serperior is a little bit cooler. I do wish that Serperior's little fins on its head, behind the head, were a bit longer. I think that would be better. Or maybe like the protrude, these parts at the back. Like some of them. I just wish they were a bit longer, but other than that, I think Serperior looks pretty cool. And Servine and Snivy also look pretty cool, kind of. I do find it pretty interesting. Not sure what they're based on. Some kind of sea serpent maybe? They look kind of scaly. They look very scaly. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I hate Froakies' mustache. I hate Froakies' mustache. And I also hate Frogadier's mustache. Like, why do they have leaf mustaches? That just doesn't look right. Greninja. Greninja is a different story. I think Greninja is very, very cool. It's pretty close to the top. Because look at it. It's a fire grass type. It got a flame around it. It looks fearsome. It looks agile, powerful. It can kick ass, and I like that. I think Pidgey is fine. I think Pidgeotto. I think I just personally like this spread of Pidgeotto. And then Pidgeot is also fine. The Cockatrice thing, I think they're fine. Nothing too special. Diglett and Dugtrio I don't like. No. They have no eyes, which I don't like. And that's pretty much the main thing. It just doesn't look right to me. I feel like they're kind of similar to Piloswine in that sense. But, I don't hate Piloswine for not having eyes. Because that's how Piloswine always was. Meanwhile, these guys, their base forms have eyes. So, yeah. Growlithe and Arcanine, I don't know what exactly I don't like about them. But I don't really like them as much. Also, by the way, I'm putting a lot of things down in the lower part because I'm actually being pretty generous. In reality, I genuinely do not hate Sceptile, Venusaur, Arcanine, or even Scyther. Alright, Geodude, he's fine. You are alright, and you are kind of interesting. I like the moss on your back. I like the moss on your back. What I don't like is Golem's gem at the bottom of its body, because that gem. We're not gonna talk about it anymore. I'll let you guys look at it for a little bit longer. Look at Delta Golem and look at the gem at the bottom of his body. Tentacool. I think Tentacool is pretty cool. I think this is pretty cool. I like how those vines look like they could really lash somebody, and Tentacool looks a bit angrier now rather than the dull face of the regular Tentacool that I really hate. Now I love regular Tentacruel, and I do actually kind of like regular Tentacruel more than the Delta, but I definitely think the Delta's awesome. You know what? Screw it. I think the Delta's pretty cool. It's also been one of the best Pokemon I've used. So in my randomizer Nuzlocke that I don't put on this channel, because have I ever had a Delta Tentacruel on this channel before? I don't think so. Maybe, who knows? I think it looks fearsome. I do kind of like how it's oozing. Like regular Tentacruel had the liquid ooze ability, and it doesn't really look all that oozy. Like, if you told me it was like dark instead of poison, I might believe you if I didn't know what Tentacruel was. Doduo, I think it's kind of cool. Probably one of the higher ones in the decent enough tier. Dodrio, I like Dodrio because it kind of contrasts from the regular one. The psychic one is it's a lot more chill, calmer, and happy. I do like it. I also like regular Dodrio, so yeah. I don't like. Oh wow, they use the old sprites. Oh, that kind of sucks. I like the newer sprites. The newer sprites fit the whole tumbleweed thing a lot better. I'm gonna hate these guys because of the sprite. Like, I need to see the sprite right now on its height. Ditto does not need a Delta. Ditto does not need a Delta. It never needed the Delta. Kabuto, I like Kabuto's wings. I do like Kabuto having wings. I think that makes it look more bug-like, and I think it's pretty interesting. Kabutops. I haven't got to use it until recently. And I mean very recently. Like, I got one in my Black Tunas, and it was actually really amazing. As for this Delta Kabutops, I mean previously, before then, I always thought it was cool, but I never got the chance to use it. But I do think it's awesome, and I really do want to use it. Also, I kind of think it's kind of funny that they might have made it bug type because the whole meme about Kabutops being Genesect. Dratini. Dratini's cute. Dragonair. Not sure what I don't like about Dragonair. I think what I don't like is the yellow nose. If that was just blue, I think I would like Dragonair a lot more. Dragonite's also fine. Pretty cool. Just turned. Yeah, he looked like he actually has scales now. Also, a couple fins. Water type. Is this an old Hoothoot sprite? That's gotta be an old Hoothoot sprite. Well, honestly, I do not mind this old Hoothoot sprite. I think it's. And as for Noctowl, nothing special. Chinchou, like, I think it's cool, but what's that whole tail thing? Is that just like it like zipping around and that's conveying motion? I don't like that. I don't know. Lantern, I think is pretty cool. Like, look at it. It's a fiery spirit thing. Pretty cool. Definitely like it. I don't like Pichu. I do not like Pichu. I don't like it. Pikachu and Raichu wearing goggles and being in the air are fine. They're fine, I guess. I guess the up with them at like low decent enough. I also don't really fully understand what their fairy types. Alright, Apom. Pretty cool. I like how it's looking behind. It looks really menacing, and I like that. I also don't know what Apom sprite they took it from. Ambipom, I think, is really cool. I really like how this looks. This was the ghost normal type before Hisuian Zoroark came into being, and I think that's very cool. This was like a ghost normal type before Hisuian Zoroark came around. Really cool. And I haven't really used one myself, but I think it would be pretty cool. It looks so fearsome, and I like that. Alright, Yanma, you're fine. You're fine. Little leafy, kind of cute. Yanmega though. Ooh, this one's great. This one's very cool. You know what? I love Yan. I actually really like this Delta. I think that the Delta Yanmega is really awesome. It looks so fierce. So fierce. And it's very cool. Girafarig. I don't like Girafarig. It's nothing special. Dunsparce. Same. It's okay. Honestly, design-wise, I think it's perfectly fine. I think I just don't like it because it's the Dunsparce, which really doesn't stand out to me at all. I think the Shuckle looks a little bit weird to me. Like, if you guys can't really see closely, those are not dot eyes. The Shuckle actually has like plus eyes that Chinchou has. I don't know if you can actually see from here. I'm pretty sure that's what it has. And I don't like that. Remoraid. Wait, where did I put that? You're fine. Octillery is kind of cool. I do think the Octillery is kind of cool. I like its head being like grayish, and I like all the smoke. And I also like that fire coming out of it. Kind of a nod to Remoraid having that thing at the time. Elekid, you are. I don't like this line because it doesn't really change much. It's just the Elekid line that's turned to stone. Also, Electivire looks a bit ridiculous. Look at his face. If he was frowning, it'd be a bit more fearsome, but no. His eyes. I mean, he doesn't have eyebrows, but still. I don't like Magby. I really don't like Magby. It just doesn't look right. Magmar is fine. Magmar is pretty fine to me. And Magmortar, I've had personal experience with Magmortar, and also I do think it's pretty cool. It looks like. I think the only thing I don't like that too much about it is the fact that you can't really see the inside of it. And also, it's like, I don't know. It doesn't. There's small parts of it that don't feel right. But overall, I think if we ignore logic, then it looks pretty cool. I think that the entire Ludicolo line is pretty cool. Lotat's pretty cool. Lombre, pretty cool. Ludicolo, pretty cool. I love Ludicolo having that magic on its hand there. It looks really awesome. It looks like fire. If only Ludicolo actually got fire type moves. Alright, see that? It doesn't really change enough to me, that's all. Like, why is it like? I don't like Nuzleaf. I don't like Nuzleaf. I don't like Nuzleaf at all. Shiftry. I used to think it was kind of cool. These days, I'm thinking that it looks a little bit off. A little bit. I don't hate this line. It just kind of looked like it from where I put it. But like the Shiftry, it just looks a little bit off, that's all. So it's like, meh. Sableye, you're fine. I think they're pretty interesting. And Mawile is nothing too special to me. Nothing really cool. Aron, Laeron, and Aggron. I feel like I gotta put Aggron higher. It's like a fiery metal dinosaur, and you can't. Like, it looks pretty cool. As for the Aron and Laeron, they're pretty cool. I like how Laeron and Aron have blue eyes and Laeron has a blue mouth. I think that's pretty awesome. Aggron has too. Yeah, those look pretty awesome there. I really like that. Oh, there's in the old Meditite Medicham. Well, I never liked these deltas. I always hated these. Like, they made them. What animal was it? Moose? Is that what I'm thinking of right now? I don't know what I'm thinking of. I'm trying to think of something. What? Oh, goats. They're goats. That's what it is. And I don't like that. Numal is, like, you change the law to radioactive. That's fine. Camera, I think Camera looks quite a bit better. I'm not sure which sprite I prefer. This older sprite or the current Camera sprite, where the Camera wearing a little mask. Not sure which one I prefer. Also in Minun. They're fine. You're fine. I just haven't gotten a lot of attachment to them because I'm not using one of these things. Alright, Wailmer and Wailord. Wailmer and Wailord are interesting. I think they're decent enough. But I think it's the icicles at the bottom that just like they're look on one hand they look really cool. They look fierce, powerful. But they also look wrong. And I don't know. That's kind of my own opinion. Alright, Feebas. Feebas. No. I don't like Feebas. Milotic is really cool though. I think the main thing that makes me like Milotic is my nostalgia. If we were doing primarily nostalgia, this is absolutely where I put it. But no, I just put it very good. I think the Milotic is pretty cool. Very cool. Like, look at it. Look at it. Some might think it's weird because its like body is segmented and like really segmented. Some might think that if you remove the wisp, it looks kind of boring and naked. At least that's what I think people would say. I haven't actually heard anyone say that before. But then again, I'm the only person I know who's played Pokemon Insurgents, apart from Flamethrower, who like he's never played a regular Pokemon game before. I had to guide him through the whole thing, brought him to Midna Town, and he just freaking sucked. It's like he doesn't understand anything about the games, it seems. So why does he want to play it? This is why I didn't want to help him. I didn't want him to play. Clamperl, decent enough. Hundill, it's goofy but yet really cool. Like, okay, I'll just put it here for now. It looks goofy. Its eye placement is disgusting. It also looks like it has a massive beard. But on the other hand, that beard, it's a very fiery freaking beard. I like its body, it's pretty cool, and I think I'll leave it here. I think they outweigh each other to where we can put it there. Corvus is also fine. This picture here has a bit of its snout missing. I do think it changes a bit. Not really enough to not really too much though. I think Beldum looks ridiculous. Spider Beldum looks a bit ridiculous to me. Metang not as severe, not as ridiculous. But like, I don't know. Like, it doesn't look like a Metang to me. I think that's what's happening here. It doesn't look like a Metang. Metagross is very, very cool though. This Metagross is really cool. I don't have as much nostalgia to this. I just think it's really awesome. I think its fangs are massive and fearsome and powerful. This looks way cooler than the Mega to me. I think it's the face. Like, you saw me criticizing a lot about other things' faces, right? Well, this one has a really sick face. It looks angry, it looks mean. The only gripe I have is the sprite. The legs, they don't really look too right, but it's fine. Beldum, you're decent enough. You're just regular Beldum, kind of rocky and mossy. Same with Metang, and honestly Metagross. The Metagross, the Ruin Delta of Metagross is just rock moss. They're rock grass types. Buneary looks kind of awkward to me. It has... Okay, so another thing I don't like are tiny eyes. Now, don't you dare say that I have tiny eyes. They're not tiny. And Buneary has minuscule sized eyes. And also it's frowning and smiling. It looks devious. And also... I don't like it. Lopunny, you're fine. Nothing too special. Riolu? It's bald and I don't like that. Lucario is kind of cool. I think the Lucario, what I like about it is, well, first off, it has sand coming down from here, which is kind of cool. It kind of shows a bit more of its ground typing, and I also think it's it's pretty similar to Blaziken, like a Pharaoh. You're both Pharaohs. Oh, they made two Pharaoh Deltas. That's cool. I think this is pretty cool and I like it. Alright, we're kinda close to finishing this. Hold on, what the heck is happening here? I just saw this. When did Delta Emoga look like this? Was it always like that? The Emolga sprites I'm running into right now, they just have like black, red tails. This looks awesome! In a way, it wouldn't make sense on Emolga, but I like this design on other things. Alright, this sprite is illegitimate. I'm gonna put it down here. Alright, now let's go back to the main thing. Croagunk. Croagunk and Toxicroak. Toxicroak is also bald. I don't like that he's bald. They could have given him like fire coming out of his head, kind of like Toxicroak's old horn. I don't know why they did it, and I don't like it. Other than that, they're fine. They look kind of interesting. Venipede. It just doesn't change much. It really just looks like a regular Venipede. This one's really close to the original. Whirlipede, I like its fire coming out of it. Scolipede, I like showing off more of the lava. And I will put it in quite solid. I think it looks really good with Scolipede. Also, there's a lot of fire over there. And you can still clearly tell it's a rock type. Petalil and Lilligant. Alright, all four of these, Petalil, kinda cute. Lilligant, yeah, it's fine. You don't really look like as much of a Petalil to me, but I guess you're fine. And the other Lilligant, I think this Lilligant is probably my favorite out of all of them. I think this one looks the best. The other Lilligant's cool. Water fire typing is also great. And I don't hate it. Nothing wrong with it at all. But I just like this Lilligant a bit more. I think that one looks a bit better. Solosis. Nothing too special. Duosion. I honestly think Duosion is kind of cool. I like how it like has protrusions. I think that looks pretty cool. Reuniclus is fine to me. Another thing about this whole tiny eye thing, but it's not really as severe with Reuniclus because it's a ghost type. So I can kind of see it. I'm also not so sure why they have green pistachios for ears. Like the whole line, not just Reuniclus. I don't get why they have pistachios. Narumago's fine. Nothing wrong with him. I hate this Darmanitan sprite. I get that it's bought from the old one, but I don't like it. I think the current one looks far cooler. I'm gonna use my head to think about the current one. You guys can look at what the current Darmanitan sprite is if you want. As for regular Delta Darmanitan, I think it's pretty awesome. This one is like that one I would put substantially lower. Maractus, I think Maractus is pretty fine. Maractus definitely needed a Delta. I think it would have been better if it got a Delta that was good. But I don't hate it. It's kind of cute. Dwebble, fine. Crustle is also fine. The whole line is fine. All of these are fine to me. Hey, look at that. We put them right under Lilligant, and we even put the fairies below the fairies and the grass below the water fire. I think that's very cool for me to do, actually. Wow. I don't really have a favorite among all of these, but they're fine. They're all just fine to me. Really nothing special. I think Yamask is kind of cool. I think it's pretty interesting. Like, I don't really have much of an attachment to Yamask, Delta Yamask, especially with how I've never used it, but it's fine. Okay, this is one that's gonna be interesting to talk about. This one, if it was about nostalgia, I put it here because I used it so much. If it was based on design, I put it as probably quite solid or decent enough. I'll put a mix. I'll put a very good. Shout out to the 3 Delta Configurations I've used so far. I've used one in, what was it, Season 4 or Season 2? I think it was Season 4. I've used one in I'm currently using one in Season 5, and it is amazing. Just like the Season 4 one. And then, also, there was one, just random one that I did off camera, and because I do a lot of these off camera, by the way. I always play Pokemon Surgeons Nuzlocke. I definitely think the Configurations looks... That Configurations is also great. Seriously, it's too good. Oh, this is the old Karabakh sprite? Oh, I think it actually looks pretty cute. I think I prefer this one rather than the current one. Alright, this old Karabakh sprite is pretty cute. I had no idea. I had no idea that the oldest Cavalier looked like that. When I got Insurgents, I downloaded the most recent update, which is still the current one that I have. And my gosh, am I happy they changed the sprite. The current Delta S Cavalier looks so much better. Like, it looks happy, a lot more interesting design aspects. Rather than that, that looked like crap. Oh my god. I see why they changed it. Holy heck. Alright, Cyclops, tongue-sticking Fungus, you're fine. You're meh. Like, they just look kind of wrong, especially Amoonguss. They're ugly. Litwick, you are pretty fine, pretty interesting. I like the type of how they changed the type of candle too. I think that's really nice. Lampent, like this Lampent, I like the current sprite more because this Lampent is really bulbous. It's super bulbous. Chandelure. Oh, I love the Delta Chandelure. I think I just like generally I really like the Chandelure line. I really like the Chandelure line. And Delta Chandelure, it has much smaller and simpler flames. It looks a lot more condensed, calm. It looks a lot more safe. It also, I like those fancy things at the bottom of it. I like it. I like it changing to brighter colors, so it's like kind of warmer as well. And I like how it's like the not evil version of the pretty, I guess, evil Chandelure. Like, it's no, Chandelure's not evil. Chandelure's great. Chandelure's great. Love it. I love these things. Axew, you're fine. You are fine. Fracture, I think it's pretty awkward, honestly. His mouth is kind of weird. I don't like the gills down at the bottom, below his mouth. And also don't like how he has a chain sticking out of his top fin. Like, shouldn't that be like hanging down rather than sticking up? Like, how? It's not Minecraft, you don't do that. Delta Haxorus, I think it's pretty cool. I like how Ryukra has one. And also Delta Haxorus. Okay. Like, it's pretty cool, but they changed the back sprite. The old back sprite was so cool. Was so much cooler. I'm not gonna put them on screen. You're gonna have to look it up yourself. Because the only editing I'm doing for this video is probably just gonna be music. But then they changed it to just be his back, and it looks way worse. I hate it. I miss the old one. I never got to experience the old one. I had to watch like YouTubers playing, and I saw the old one and it looked so much better. Golett, you are fine. Golurk is also fine. Pretty cool. I like these like big knight dudes. I like Golurk's cape. And Golett's cape, actually. He has a cape too. Yeah, they're pretty cool. I think Golurk is really cool. Heatmore. This older sprite is a lot less detailed. Like the newer one has a lot more intricate. This one is more meh. Also, like generally Delta Heatmore just a meh. Like, it's nothing special. No, the current one is just decent enough. Dino doesn't really... It's not really too special to me. I don't like how it doesn't really have like a horn that that regular Dino has. I think that one makes Dino look a lot better, because otherwise these guys, I mean, they're not bald, they have hair, but they don't really have much on their head. Zweilous! Like, Zweilous, you see with those horns, they look a lot better. If they didn't have that, I would like them a lot less. Hydreigon looks fierce. I mean, like, of course it, I mean, obviously it's gonna look fierce, but it still looks fierce. I will say I like the female one more than the male one. I like the purple more than the green for this type of thing, because it's a poison type, poison ground, and the female one just looks like a poison type rather than the green one not looking like a poison type. Larvesta, I know there's a whole lot of lore about this one, and I think that's interesting, but like, it doesn't have much of a design. I do know, was it the first Delta that they created that Ryu created it. I don't fully understand the lore. I'm kind of dumb. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. The lore, I mean, not Larvesta. It's kind of bland. Volcarona, very, very cool. Wait, where did I put that? Where did I put it? I don't see it. Am I blind? Oh, I put it here. You do not deserve to be there. You are very cool, very good. I don't know if it gets Quiver Dance because, from my experience, I just run all out attacker sets. Whenever I go in playthroughs, I just run Aura Sphere, Thunderbolt, Fire Blast, Psychic, Spatial Ren, Sludge Bomb, Dark Pulse. I know Spatial Ren isn't a great coverage move, but hey, I run it. I ran it for fun. And might I say, this thing crushes things. Especially with armor. Like, it's really strong, it's pretty fast, but then you give it bulk, and now it has everything. Wow. And it also has an amazing typing. It has Dark Poison, which has no weaknesses. I mean, it has ground weakness, but it has Levitate, so it doesn't have a weakness, which just makes it so good. Alright, Amora, like, you're fine. There's something about it I don't like, and I'm not sure what it is. I think Aurora's is really very cool. I have a lot of great experiences with using this thing. It's really strong. Oh wait, I just realized they're using the old sprite, and I think the new sprite is way cuter. This older sprite doesn't look good. I don't like it, so I'm gonna drop it because of that. Goomy looks goofy, but I kind of like the goofiness. I think it looks kind of fun. They're pretty fine. Nothing too special. I do like the water and the drippiness around with them. I think that'll add to the immersion. Same thing with Goodra here. Same thing. Same little situation about all that oozing drippiness. Okay. Alright, the Reggies. Very creative. Definitely think they're very interesting. But like, they're kind. Alright guys, I want you to guess, why don't I like the Reggies as much? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's because they're bald. They're bald. I know the original Reggies. I mean, they weren't really that bald. Like, for me, Regis's top was like his smooth head here, so that the whole point thing looked a bit more like a hat, kind of like Miscellaneous, and I think that looks a bit better. Make Regis better. This one just has a smooth, full-on head. Regirock, like, he has a pretty intricate head. Pretty interesting. Not really all that bald. And Registeel, like, I like the whole segment, the gray part in the middle and then the metallic part at the side. Looks really cool. Meloetta, like, I used it a lot, had a lot of fun, but I don't like it because it doesn't look right. It really does not. I haven't had experience with the Hoopas, but personally I think Hoopa Unbound is decent enough, and regular Hoopa better than original Hoopa, I'll say that. And then the UFI, you're pretty cute. I guess I'll put you here. So guys, this is my tier list. That didn't take nearly as long as I expected it to. So yeah, here is my tier list of Pokemon Insurgents, the Delta Pokemon. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, guys. Leave a like, subscribe, let me know what you want to see me do in the future, and have a great day, everybody. Peace.